So when somebody's using a business network or any sort of network in general, they will need to have their own responsibility because you can't just go on there thinking I can do what I want. Like you need to take responsibility in stuff that you do. So when it's talking about user responsibilities for an organization, you'll need to basically be like, right, this is what we expect you to do as a user. Like, we expect you to at least follow your own sort of set of rules and be responsible in how you use our systems. Um, so, one thing is like logging onto a device. A lot of people last year would accidentally leave their device unlocked, and then other people would come in and start putting on silly comments and silly files and stuff like that. I'm not saying anybody in particular, but some people remember what I'm referring to. But you could potentially, if you left your system unlocked, especially for a hacker coming in, if they physically come in the building, they could literally just see a laptop. If somebody's gone for a drink or something and left the laptop unlocked, they could literally just steal the laptop. It's already logged on. They can start then doing stuff like finding, if it's a bank, like bank account details and stuff like that. So leaving your device unlocked is a user responsibility. Like, they need to lock it. But that's what you need to talk about when you're talking about sort of user responsibilities. Is you need to be responsible for the security as well. It can't just be based on, well, the system should do this for me. Like, that's what the point of the system is. But you need to take responsibility for your actions. That's basically what this section is. Um, Obviously, accidents will happen. Um, some things are unavoidable, but if companies put guidelines in place saying like this is what you should ideally do, that's another way of sort of mitigating problems. Like, user responsibilities could have guidelines, so it could be like, right, a guideline could be that to the server room you need to sort of lock it after you've sort of been in there. It might not be a policy. It could be made into a policy, but it could just be a guideline that you just lock it. Because you could leave it unlocked for somebody else to go in, like another member of staff, but potentially somebody disguised as another member of staff could try and go in. So it's stuff like that. Um, Strength of password, again, you can sort of enforce some of these. So you could basically say to your users, you need your password to have a certain length or character size or whatever, and they have to use that as part of the password. Now, potentially speaking, you could just have it as a guideline and just say this is what we suggest, but you don't have to have it. Um, that can have varying results. That can obviously lead to problems, but it can also lead to people being able to log in quicker because for those of you who know who've had to have your password reset, if you forget, it can stop you doing either your work or your job potentially. So that it depends on what the organisation's view is on password setting, but they could just put it as a policy potentially or force the user to do it. But everybody on a network has a responsibility. That's what I'm trying to get across. Like, they have a responsibility to make sure that the network is secure as it possibly can be. You can't just go around and be like, "Oh, I can leave this unlocked. It's fine. Like, I trust everybody in here," because you can't. Like, somebody else could walk in. It's one of these things where you have to take responsibility for your actions, and this is what this section's about. Um, Obviously, the business will need to uh, suggest like how to sort of stop these problems and say what your responsibilities are. Like, usually, for those of you who've been interviewed, you probably will have been told what your responsibilities are. Like, yeah, there is your responsibilities. Doesn't mean to say that you're going to follow them necessarily. Obviously, you should, and I'm advocating that you always should follow your responsibilities in a job or at home or in the workplace or anything like that. Like, always be responsible, but potentially you might not. Like, that's why responsibilities are so important, because if you don't take responsibility for a network, then it could be attacked. So this is what this sort of section's talking about. I know I keep saying that, but it's to try and drill in that you need to be responsible when looking after a network or using a network, because that's how it could be vulnerable to other types of attacks.